Okay. I think everything's going.
Yeah.
Hey, no, we're going there.
There's sounds.
Do you not see the video? One more button to push. All right. Let's try that.
All right.
There we go.
All right, here we are.
Okay.
We're just getting going here. Thanks for joining us if you're just signing on. What is this? Episode
98.
98. Thank you for joining us for our weekly live chat. I'm Javad Shadzi. This is Nate Stewart. And we're here to discuss all things 034 Motorsport, all things automotive. Anything you'd like to ask us about anything, really, but certainly 034 Motorsport products and services, our history, our philosophy on anything. You're upset at us, you like us. Yeah, anything you want to ask. We might not answer it, but I think we pretty much
You can ask anything you want.
I think we pretty much have answered every question that's ever been asked.
Yeah, if you're just here to troll,
no.
you can go elsewhere. But if you've got questions, you want answers,
You can go troll yourself, as far as I'm concerned. But I was kind of thinking about this. The update questions get a little like tough to deal with,
right?
Because it's like, and we probably say too much about what's coming and what's available, but I have been skipping over some of those because it's like every week.
Yeah, I mean, people by update questions, Joel's mentioning like when are things going to be ready? When's release going to happen? And we don't. As much as we try and plan and schedule things, it'll be done when it's done. There's always hurdles. There's always stuff we're working on and refining, and we're not sitting here trying to just rush product to you guys. For the sake of just getting it out. We want to make sure it's right and you get the right thing.
Yeah, and it gets a little old just repeating the same thing every week.
Mm-hmm.
And when we could be talking about more interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll do our best. Okay, let's get started here. Hey guys, can you please explain the difference between B9 and B9.5 TCU? Last week you guys mentioned they were different. Why such a delay for the Stage 2 TCU for B9.5?
Yeah, the B9.5, for whatever reason, Audi or ZF or whoever set up the base programming in it decided things needed to be completely different between the two generations. Literally, I think 90% of the shift tables are different. The strategies are different. The way some of the programming, the shift program mapping is done is very different. So it's just a matter of, it's
not necessarily better or worse.
It's not better or worse. It's just different, and it's structured differently. It's laid out differently. Some of the math in it is done differently. So it's just stupid little details like that are hurdles with that we have to deal with anytime the new generation of something coming out potentially. So it's nothing more than that. Where we just have to get that finished up for release.
Will the Stage 2 RS5 TCU be similar to the Stage 3 S4 TCU tune? Will there be a Stage 3 specific TCU for B9 3.0T? Can I run the RS5 Stage 2 TCU on my B9 S4?
Okay. No, you can't.
Let's clear that.
Yeah, you can't run an RS5 Stage 2 TCU on a B9 S4. That's not a thing. Mm-hmm. They're different. The logic in them is different. The software is different. If you flash a RS5 box-coded software to your TCU, you will likely brick it and or trigger the immobilizer just to start with from a very high level, just flashing over something. Secondly, there's no reason to.
No.
We can alter the shift tables and the shift times and everything, and then B9, just like we can the RS5. They're basically the same type of transmission and software. So, you're not going to get anything from running RS5.
But it sounds like what people want is the higher shift.
So what we will be doing is offering bigger turbo files as needed, and as we find we run into situations where we need that extra RPM band, and if it's going to make it faster to wind it out to 7 or 7200 all the time, you'll see files from us that do that. So that will happen,
and we will release our Stage 3 tuning soon, and initially we won't necessarily have a different TCU tune. Our Stage 2 TCU tune will work fine for that.
Yeah,
but we will start then finalizing the Stage 3 TCU tune, which will be an effort to find the peak, acceleration from the Stage 3 ECU tune by optimizing the shift points, shift speeds, and anything further that we can do. If there's sufficient demand for a 3.0 T TCU tune, again, I think our Stage 3 would suffice.
Yeah, no, I think it would. That's the whole point.
And it's not that far away. It's not like months away.
So we'll have a, similar to why the RS5's shift point is where it is those turbos build power and continue to redline, that the red line that we chose there. And it's a faster, acceleration if you let that thing wind out to 7,200. The B9 3-liter normally is not capable of doing that. Or it's capable of winding up those RPMs, but you're going to be slower if you're shifting up there.
Yeah.
And then the big turbo stuff, like I said, that's coming.
Will 034 Stage 3 beat IE Stage 3 Stage 3 record of 9.8 second quarter mile? Absolutely.
That's what records are for, right?
Yeah, and we will absolutely beat it.
Yeah.
I think we've beat every record that they've set. I mean, we had the 3.0 T supercharged record, and then one of our customers beat that, and then he beat it again, and we're now in the nines with off the shelf tuning and the great job that Nate did.
He went a little spicy on his setup, but the file he's running is complete off the shelf.
It's off the shelf file, and if somebody wants to run nines and they can duplicate his setup, they'll be able to do it with our off the shelf file. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But yeah, no, I think we have a good track record of owning the records and the tuning applications that we're really getting behind. It's part of our development. It's part of our validation, and it's part of what we do to show the market that we have the fastest tuning. But it doesn't tell you anything about the smoothness or the safety or the quality of the tune.
Yeah, I was just
the drivability and how enjoyable and fast the file is to say drive around a road course or street.
Yep.
But anyways, it's one metric on the amount of power that's being produced, and specifically the trap speed informs you that the car is making the power that it's saying. So it's good that IE does it. It's good that tuners in the market go out, and I think it's good that the customer base expects tuners to go out and put the power to the ground.
Yeah, it's really the only level-ish playing field that there is these days.
And I mean, and just to get since we're on the topic, the ET, so the 9 point whatever, the 10 point whatever, has something to do with the tune. And of course, if you don't have a really optimal tune, you're not going to run. Nate would not have run nines without the best tune possible. But the fact that he's running nines has a lot to do with the tires, the suspension setup, the track prep, the DA. ET is very representative of the power the engine is producing. That's the engine's ability to create power to accelerate this mass down the quarter mile. But the elapsed time has much more to do with how quickly does the car begin accelerating, and when it does accelerate from a stop, how quickly does that acceleration ramp up. The faster it ramps up, the faster the car begins moving. The more acceleration the car can produce from a standstill, that has a huge impact on the ET. And so now you have two cars, one launches better than the other, and the better launching car is now this far down the track. So it's going to cross sooner than this car. They can both actually cross the same mile per hour.
Yes.
But the car that's just gets out of the hole faster and is further down the track will cross the line sooner.
Yeah, I can't remember the normal acceptance, but I think it's like every 10th you shave off your 60 foot is 2/10 at the quarter.
Yeah, it's about that. Yeah,
it's
a substantial amount of savings. So, and to be fair, no tuner necessarily controls that. We don't control what tire the is on the car. We control, we control the launch. We control the power produced, And if we produce too much power, it will cause wheel spin. If we don't produce enough, it won't accelerate as fast. So that, it is represented. Our tune has a lot to do with it, but it's not all of it. And I think sometimes the customers put too much weight on the ET and tuner ran 8s or 7s. I was like, okay, well, but they also spent so much time and money setting up the chassis, and that's not necessarily related to the tuning at all. No, and I'm not trying to I'm just trying to be accurate here with people's perception.
Every time this comes up too, there's always the debate. Well, that's our race car because it's like stripped or prepped or So I mean, it's a really tough thing to. Yeah, nobody's ever going to agree on everything, but a quarter mile time at a strip it's not an easy thing to do, to set that record and hold it. So
yes, should we just talk about Nate's record? So
the B8.
Do we have all the details on that?
Yeah, let me pull that up.
It's in a blog post on our website.
Let's just have Nick throw it. Yeah. Let's answer another question real quick. Someone's asking about B9 3.0 fuel pump, high pressure fuel pumps. Which one's better? IE is out there saying that the ORT pump does not flow enough. I don't think we're prepared to say too much yet on that. Not certainly right now here on the air. So maybe we'll talk about what we should say this week, and we can say something next week. But I can say we have not run the ORT pump.
No, we have not.
And I think that's what I said last week.
We tested it in house. That's not one of the ones we have.
So we can't comment on what IE is saying, and we cannot comment on whether the ORT pump is sufficient. We are working on our own pump that will be, but it's probably going to be out this summer at the soonest. So we will come out probably and recommend one pump or a pump of a certain diameter. I think a piston diameter is one way to do it. So we'll talk more about that. When can we find out what hardware is required for stage 3? I want to start ordering parts. I think we can tentatively talk about this, right? Because we're getting near releasing our tune. Mm-hmm. So we're initially releasing the 710. Later on, release an 810 file. I don't even think we have that turbo yet. It just came to the market.
The 810?
The 810.
Yeah, no.
But the 710 tune will require a 710 turbo.
That's a good start.
And are we saying intercooler?
Yeah, it's going to be
intake.
Yeah, there would be. Yeah, you don't want to run it without an intercooler.
No. So intercooler intake will be required mods. We will supply a 4-bar map sensor, or if you already have one, but the tune will run the 4-bar map. We are not planning on supporting other injector options or anything like that. We have not seen any need for that yet.
Yeah, right now we're sticking with the stock injectors,
and we're not going to tell customers to go out and spend however much money on new injectors if they don't need them. And then we'll talk more about what fueling options we're going to offer. But I think the market will like the fueling options that we offer, and I think overall our program will be simpler and
hopefully
not as many foo-foo options that aren't needed. So that will be what we'll be bringing to market. But definitely, I'd say next Monday is tune in if you're interested in our Stage 3 3.0T products. Tune in on Monday. That's when we hope to be able to release more information. All right, do we have that stuff?
I'm good at the bottom. Yeah, I'm going to try and actually put it up on the screen. Give me just a second here.
Okay, so our customer, Nate Prater, he has a B8 S4.
B8 S5.
S5.
Okay, that would be good to say. B8, and it says B8 here.
B8.5 S5.
Okay, B8.5 S5. And he was able to run a 9977. So 9.97 at 137.48 miles. Very, very fast. Very fast shot speed. So let's just go down his list of modifications.
Yeah, I know 1 second.
He's on 034 Motorsport, Dynamic Plus, Stage 2 Plus ECU, off the shelf, running E40, and he's got a water meth injection kit on the car. We don't have any details about that. And I just want to state, this was a completely independent customer effort.
Oh yeah.
We did not support him in any way. I mean, we weren't sending him custom files. We weren't logging his car for him. We weren't on the phone with him while he was at the track. I think typically, when other tuners, this kind of stuff happens, they're very involved. And so all the credit goes to Nate as far as actually doing this and pulling this off. And we're just simply relaying the information as far as what we know he did. We're not taking credit for this. If you have more,
he put a ton of work in.
If you have more questions about him or his car, that's not here. I actually don't know the answer. You're gonna have to ask him, or maybe we could ask him. But we're just simply relaying the information. We were not involved in this at all. And then he's running our Dynamic Plus Stage 1 TCU tune, again off the shelf. He has the 034 Motorsport Super Duper Suction Bundle.
Hey.
Which he port matched to the supercharger. He has an S4 Audi ported blower. He has test pipes, and he was running a 50 shot of wet nitrous.
Yep.
And so we do not support nitrous. Our tune does not take into account nitrous, but he was running it wet. So that means he's injecting a certain amount of nitrous and a certain amount of fuel and so the fuel that's injected with the nitrous is the extra fuel the motor needs to support the oxygen that's provided by the nitrous oxide. This was a 50 shot, and the way I look at it, it's not that much different than putting 15-inch wrinkle slicks and putting tiny little brakes on your car, or gutting your interior, which lots of people have done. And it's only a 50 shot, but I think it was enough to get for him to
I think we also need to specify, like, he beat the record without that previously.
Yeah.
He ran a 10-2-0.
Yeah, he has 1 and 2 as far as records.
Yeah, 10-2, 130.
Well, if we want to count all his runs, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I think he beat it a lot. Yeah.
Which is fucking amazing.
He did a consistent, like, 4 10-0 passes that same night as the 9-9.
I'm definitely going to owe him a plaque of some kind.
Yep. No,
he's going back with a 100 shot.
Yeah. So again, we're not here to say run nitrous. It's great, but you know what? If you want to go drag racing and you want to go a couple tenths faster,
I know.
it's a good option.
This is where, like, people just have a hard time with, like, what a record is and what fast quarter mile times are. Like, you go to the drag strip, you're going to see a lot of cars purging nitrous. Like,
yeah,
it's not unheard of at all at a drag strip. So,
well, and it's. I mean, as far as I know, there's no record out there for a pure tuning record of what can you run on a stock car with a tune. That doesn't. I mean,
who defines what?
No one defines that, right? So all of a sudden, it's like you've got the tune, and then you've got lightning. You're gutting the interior, and then you're putting tiny little wheels, and then you're downgrading the brakes to a point where it's not even safe to drive. They're enough to slow the car down at the end of the quarter mile, and that's it. So and nitrous, in my opinion, falls in line with that stuff. Okay. So on the record run, he was not running water with injection.
He instead injected nitrous.
He did nitrous
switched it out.
instead. Yeah, and you wouldn't need it if you were running nitrous. AWE touring exhaust. So he had an exhaust installed, full exhaust.
Yeah, full countback.
I think that cancels out the nitrous.
Sure. Yeah, that negates that right there.
That's amazing. Most people would have. I think any other record attempts have been no exhaust.
Yeah.
He has some type of upgraded high pressure fuel pump.
RS7 pump is what he said he was running.
For the low pressure.
He has a low pressure RS7 pump. He's running a 200 mil crank pulley and a 57 mil supercharger pulley. Upgraded belt tensioner. What's up with that? We should ask about that. 1,000 cc water methanol injection, which he was not running. Upgraded heat exchanger and reservoir tank. CWA 100 pump.
Yep.
034 Motorsport 2-piece floating brake rotors. So he had
full-size brakes on there.
Full-size brakes, which is incredible.
Yep.
And he's running all the 034 chassis parts like engine mounts, density mounts, control arms, our boost tap, and our stainless steel bleeder screws, which I think probably
that's what did it right there. So
Yeah, bleeder screws.
you gotta get that arrow.
And he's running KW V2 coilovers. It'd be interesting to know if he messed with the settings at all.
Those aren't adjustable.
The V2s, I don't think are.
Those do not have dampening.
Even more impressive. Wow. He has a lightweight battery, 17-inch wheels, and Hoosier DR2s. He removed seats, door cards, spare tire, rear muffler,
So he was running without.
and he was running a Kirky driver's seat.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, so he did remove the rear muffler.
Yeah.
That's
So still.
And then real quick, track conditions. DA was 1,600 feet, which isn't
It's insane.
great. The track's at 288 feet. The temp was 75 degrees, 44% humidity, 29.73
Inches of mercury. Yeah.
inches of mercury, and air density was 95%. So really impressive.
Yeah.
Really impressive. I'd say this is a legit record with no frills mods, relatively no frills mods, and very realistic track conditions.
Yeah.
In like the best VA possible, he could do this 9.
Yeah.
Without the nitrous.
Yeah.
No, he was.
Yeah, if he had a negative DA, then that would be another story. So
Something people are asking us is how is it that this guy should run a 9.9, have 137 when no one else has managed to get close? He can talk about like the skill behind drag racing.
Dude, it's well. I mean, just to start with, it's just the amount of the prep, the practice, the effort put in. If you look at like the way he was down to the way he was staging, the detail,
yeah,
he's
coming up his tires.
icing everything. He's got the a burnout procedure set up that's been working for him to hook and get going. I mean, he's cutting like a 1.360 foot, his best 60 foot.
That's crazy.
Like that's not easy to do and be consistent at. So it's practice.
And those aren't even wrinkle slits.
It's effort. No, it's just DRTs.
Yeah.
Because 17 inches, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Still.
it's that 1.360 foot. If you can put that down and make it work all the way through the pass, that's huge. I mean, like we said before, the previous record was like a 150 or I think a 150 60 foot. So you put down, you remove 10th, from that and 60 foot. That's 2/10 at the quarter at the end potentially. There's your 10L right there, which is what he's been cutting all, without the nitrous. So it's just all of the stuff has to come together. And
Yeah, I would say if you're questioning, whatever the other runs were that weren't as fast, take a look at their 60 foot. If they're at a 1.5 and he's a 1.3, then there's a half a second right there.
it's huge. Yeah, it adds up real fast.
So you can the way quarter mile slips are designed is all those different times at the different parts of the track really inform you, and it's kind of everything you need to know to see like why did that car go fast.
It'll paint a pretty solid picture.
Um,
And you can look at some of these too, like the way that run comes together too. I mean, like I'm looking at some of his his slips here, and he's got a 10.0 at 136.5, and then the next one's a 10.0 at 131.0. Now, whether that's a trapping, drag strip issue or not, but that's what I'm saying. He's still got a 10.0. Like, so
yeah.
the run really has to all come together.
Yeah, and then there's the launch.
The 10.0 at 131 with running out of fuel, that probably would have been a 9 something without the nitrous. So
that would have been the room.
yeah, it's just everything has to come together. And yeah, it's not, you can't just, it's as much as people like to bag on like DSGs or automatics and say they're easy you can just put your foot down and go.
They're easier for sure.
They're easier, but there's still a lot that goes into it to be at the, world record.
They're not brainless by any means. And the difference between, the average DSG driver skill and someone who really figures it out is the difference between some of these records.
Yeah, and he's using our advanced launch control to set up both a burnout strategy and then changes it for launch.
It would be interesting to hear all he did to do this. I think it's safe to say he didn't just go out one night and do this.
No, he's been working on this for a while, and he's going out practicing. He's going out on test runs. He's test days at the practice.
Yeah, he's been telling us for a couple weeks on the line that he's going to do this. So yeah, no, it's a great job, and we love supporting customers like that. It makes us look good. It makes our life easier.
Yeah,
But ultimately,
I mean, that's why
we're here to support the customers who want to have fun with cars. And
really have to do much support here.
Well, that's the other thing.
We supported him by providing him with products.
In Nate's case, like I don't think he's sent us really any logs. I think maybe just like, hey, my logger's working, and then he went and set a record. Like, yeah,
but
I haven't seen a log from him. Certainly,
that's my point. Is this is kind of the ultimate for a company like us, right? Because we do all the hard work in creating the best products, and then if we have customers who are going to go out and actually use these products to their fullest potential, that's like the biggest, fit for us is we that allows us. So now we're not at the drag strip trying to show how fast this car is. Our customers are doing it for us and for you as well. For the rest
he
of the
gets to be
community.
the fastest V8 guy
Yeah.
on the planet. So
And we don't really care about having the credit of doing that. We're just thrilled that our products helped do it and that we could be a part of it. And I think he probably had a lot of fun. I imagine he probably partied and had a great time, after doing that, celebrating it. So that's what it's all about.
hopefully so. I mean,
Great
like,
for us to see.
it's a lot of work to get to that point.
Yep. Someone's asking. So, any more questions about that? Let us know. We'll try to answer them. You contact Nick directly. I think he's been readily available.
He's in Facebook.
He's all using.
There was some. I'll just touch on this because I love kind of popping holes in drama and BS. But there was some rumors or assertions or ideas that this was some custom like hot file.
We have.
Someone was saying that there's no way you could do this with an off-the-shelf file. Actually, that person's a tuner. Should know better, but you can, and he did. And we're not hiding anything. And frankly, if we had some special sauce file that he was running, why wouldn't we make it available to everyone? It's like, which we're already doing. It's on our server, ready to run.
Yeah.
It's the same file we've been delivering for a while now. So I don't know why people always have to try to read into stuff or think that there's some conspiracy theory. I know some other companies out there maybe have done that, but we're being fully transparent. There was 50 shot of nitrous. All the mods are here, and again, it's not even us that did it. But we could even pull logs off our server showing when the last time he flashed his ECU was, and then it was the shelf file. So that's just kind of silly. I think that's kind of blown over by now. I don't think it's really going on, but maybe a few people are still saying that. Will you guys have more horsepower than IE for stage 3? It's hard to say. We've seen their advertised numbers, and they're
this is where it's always it's you're playing the dyno game.
Yeah.
So what we can say, and I think to your point earlier, is the trap speed that you'll see on the files coming out. That'll kind of show.
I don't think our advertised numbers will be anywhere near as high as these. The TT710 is a turbo that's rated for 710 horsepower of airflow at peak compressor flow. It's not a 710 horsepower turbo, like you just run 710 horsepower as the norm. So the fact that they're advertising even above that is kind of shocking, but we will release our official numbers. And I feel like there won't be any more possible power to be had after what we're doing. It's possible we'll squeeze a little bit more out here or there. There is no magic in making power inside the ECU, but when you think about what is the ECU controlling, there's an internal combustion engine that the ECU is controlling a myriad of parameters to produce peak torque, which on these newer motors includes ignition timing, fuel, air fuel ratios. There's variable cam timing. There's things going on with the valves. There's a lot of variables that the ECU is controlling. And so if you can optimize all those variables and optimize the way air flows into the motor, you can change the volumetric efficiency and you can make more power. And we've definitely done that with our tune. But you get pretty close to diminishing returns at some point. And maybe in the future we could 5 more horsepower here or there, or something like that. And then there's all the limitations that you're dealing with. So, the fueling is a limitation. We're at a point now where the amount of fuel that the low pressure and the high pressure system can deliver is a limiting factor. And then you introduce E85, and so you're playing with E85 blends.
You got to figure out how close to the sun you want to fly.
Right. But we will release information showing that we have at least as powerful of a tune as possible. Our trap speeds will dictate that.
There's a lot of people asking long-term reliability on B9 Stage 3. Well, since the tunes have been out for days.
No, nobody can say long-term reliability, but I think it's safe to say that between us and other companies that have been running and testing these for a little bit now, that there's no severe concerns.
We haven't yet,
Yeah.
had any cause for concern on these configurations.
The thing that affects,
As far as what we're doing.
yeah, I mean, as far as like the overall reliability of the car, we can't say, but I'll speak specifically. The thing that wears engines out the fastest is RPM. So if you go into like the world of racing, there are racing motors, and these motors they're rated for a certain number of hours of use. For example, in these like little formula cars, there's these Toyota 4-cylinder 4-cam engines that have ITBs, and they're full on racing motors, and they're bolted to these little dog boxes with straight cut gears, and so you can go buy an engine, and the engine ratings are literally determined. The engine hour ratings are literally determined by how high the engine is. And so if you want an engine that will need 200 hours between rebuilds, then that motor is going to run up to 8,500 RPM. And then there's another motor that's rated for 100 hours, and that one's 9,000 RPM. And then there's another one that you have to rebuild it after every race, so it's good for 10 hours, yeah. And that one revs to 10,500 RPM, and that's really the only difference.
And that's not even on even on a crazy exotic motor like the TTRS VLN car was designed to run a 24-hour at the Nürburgring event, and was per Audi's engineers and recommendations was basically rated at 24 hours of continuous use. It had a lower rev limit than a normal.
They even lowered the rev.
Yeah, they lowered the rev limiter from even a normal TTRS at the time. And then they were legit concerned when we were going to take it to the 25-hour Thunder Hill because they didn't know if it would last another hour. So, it's all about, that sustained RPM, the high RPM use, and that's really where
and that's every RPM stroke is the rings sliding up and down the cylinder, and that's the main thing that wears out.
No, if you're talking like just a functional structural limit like rod weakness or whatnot, that's an instantaneous thing, but we've yet.
But that's the kind of thing that usually manifests in the short term, right? Pretty quickly. Right. So I think we would be seeing that if that was an issue. So, if you're worried about super duper reliability, Stage 3's not for you.
Yeah,
yet.
Don't put a
don't. Why don't you wait a year or two and see what happens? I think the people that are excited about doing Stage 3 are willing to accept the fact that it's relatively new on the market, and if something happens, they'll rebuild their motor. But that's part of the tuning game. And otherwise, stick Stage 1.
It's interesting to think of expectations these days too. Is right. Like, I mean, what did it used to take to make 700 horsepower in anything?
It's ridiculous.
Never mind bolting a turbo on and flashing your car. This is,
Yep.
I mean, basically uncharted territory for the world of internal combustion engines.
All right, let's keep going. Should I buy the TT710 right now or hold out for the 810? I would say buy this if you want to get going. Buy a 710, run that for a year. You'll have no trouble selling.
Well, and so if you're able to deal with swapping things around, TTE is offering a 710 to 810 update.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So you can upgrade.
That's the down the road. Yeah. So there will be a way to upgrade your 810, your 710 to an 810. Yeah. But it just depends how quickly you want to start having fun. So, in the scheme of things, the 710 is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know. It's yet to be seen exactly how much better the 810 will be. It's a marginal improvement. It's gonna be a little bit laggier, a little bit slower to come up, and it will be able to hold more boost to redline. But then there's fueling issues that will need to be dealt with as well. So. How much power is the ZF8 rated for?
I would change that question to how much torque.
Yeah, it's
power isn't what actually moves the car. Well, it is over time.
Well, power is like
torque is what matters.
Horsepower definitely doesn't determine it.
Yeah.
You could say torque and power are similar.
Yeah. I mean,
it's torque specific.
Yeah. This is another area we haven't found the limit that we. Yeah.
No,
we haven't hit an issue with it yet.
That's a really strong transmission.
It's very strong.
That's why it's like using all these performance cars.
Yeah, we've done I'll say 600 plus foot-pounds to the wheels through
Mhm.
them. So
Yeah. No, they're tough. How much power? Are you going to see mid tens on a stage 3 B9 SQ5 ever? Yeah, I think so.
yeah, why not?
Yeah,
That's
so we're talking about taking our in-house SQ5 and stage 3ing it and getting out there and doing it. So if you've got an SQ5, stay tuned. We want to do exciting things with that car, and that market's actually much bigger than we ever thought. And it's a great platform. It's a great car, and they're super fast. Like even on track, that car was that's like
Pretty
5 seconds
yeah.
off our time attack car, basically. So yeah, no, it's good stuff.
Doing it, Laguna.
I don't know. It was like low 130 or something.
Okay. It's a 148.
yeah. No, it's
Well,
probably
did 148?
Well,
I thought it
Laguna,
did like
I mean,
a
that's a pretty big power train.
Yeah. It's ridiculously way too fast.
It's too fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you run your stage 2 TCU with another stage 3 tune for B9 3.0 T? I mean, you can. It's not optimized for it.
Yeah, that's like an impossible thing to answer. It all depends how the ECU calibration was done and if they're properly reporting torque in the way that they should be. So it's hard to say. If they're doing everything right, it should work just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we don't test out any of our stuff with other companies' tunes. By far, we can say the best absolute performance driving experience will be running all of our products together. Will forge internals be required for TT810 usage for B9 3.0 T? The 810 is not going to make a lot more torque than the 710.
Yeah,
so it's not really the 710 or 810 won't be any different as far as whether they need rods or
right.
It's going to be a torque issue, and it stands to reason the 810 will make less torque than the 710 because the power band will be shifted up slightly.
Right.
Where the 810 will shine is at the top of the power band, and this is so when you're comparing two turbos that are next to each other in the product line. Let's say one's good for 710, one's good for 810, or one's good for 500, one's good for 550. Virtually all the time, the only difference is going to be that the bigger, higher rated turbo is going to simply be able to support some more airflow at the top of the power band. Right? It's not going to do anything more for you at the bottom of the power band. You would have to go to a much, much smaller turbo to get it. So that would be like the difference between like a 510 and an 810. The 510 is going to make the most torque. Yeah. Yep. And that's what bends internals.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I can, potentially say is, if the 810 really shines up top and we can really stretch the rev range, maybe valve springs would be the first thing that would be upgraded. But it's going to, we'll see how that power band shapes up, with all the restrictions and limitations we're dealing with.
There's another question about high pressure fuel pump. We'll address that next week. We're not going to, we need to figure out what to say. Yeah. Because it's not our product.
It's tough to speak to other products.
But I think we do need to make sure that customers are buying the right fuel pump, and so we'll release that information along with our stage 3 kit. Will you make support for pure 700 turbo? And what's better, 710 or pure 700? We do have a pure 750.
Yeah.
That we're planning on supporting next. The TT stuff is, appearing to be by far the most popular.
Probably come for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends. We have a 750.
Yeah, it depends what we can get our hands on.
I don't know when we're going to get an 8. We have them on order.
I think we did some polls on this a while ago. I don't think the 700 really was a blip on the map.
No, I think it's the 750.
It was the second highest available, but that's from 70 entries to like 3.
But do they even support it anymore? They said they were moving to the 750.
It's very unclear. It's very.
That's what they told us. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we ordered a 700 and they sent the 750. Was
they said that's what they're moving forward. Yeah.
What does the transmission mount do for the Audi S4 B8? Does it help the jolt when going down in gears? Yes. It's gonna have a big impact anytime you're shifting, and from keeping that engine and transmission assembly from bouncing around between shifts. Typically, I think that's the number one feedback we get on our insert and stage 2 mounts is the shift quality really improves.
Yep.
It's usually what customers.
Yeah, that was an interesting product. The insert in particular, we ended up selling a lot of those to dealers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because customers are coming.
Customers would come in complaining, and dealers found out that it actually fixed or helped a lot of the 2-to-1 downshift can be particularly clunky on some of those models.
Mhm.
So yeah, dealerships were installing those.
Can I run Stage 2 ECU and the Stage 1 TCU patch file on B9 S4?
Yep, not a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Will you guys support the Merc Racing blower coming out, or will we need a custom tune? It's come up a few times.
We've talked about this, and I've talked with him, a little bit directly about it. It really depends on what it is. It's not a thing yet. There's some renderings, and he's still in the early costing analysis phase of things.
Is he? So it's not even.
It's not a thing. Yeah, and there's been no testing and no. Yeah, so who knows when and what it's going to be.
I think this is what we always say. If it's a critical mass of customers who need this support, then we will do it. We're here to create products and services for people, that want them, and for a larger group of people who want them. It's not going to help us to spend all this time and money and develop a tune for 3 people. So we need to make sure that it's something that people will actually be doing, and it doesn't even exist yet. Has he even said how much it's going to cost?
No, nothing.
Yeah. I mean, this could be a $30,000 kit. I'm not saying it. Yeah. You have no idea.
At least I haven't seen it, whether he has not. Yeah. But there was a post this morning, which is, I think, what's driving that question.
Well, it comes up like almost.
Yeah, there was. I didn't see pricing.
Please convince me to leave APR. I hate deleting test pipe files every time for inspection. I heard your tune works with O2 right now.
No, we do not set readiness. If you've got test pipes, if you have test pipes, you should not be getting an inspection on the vehicle. It's for racing only. That said, we feel we have a much better calibration than APR, and there's a lot of other reasons to.
It's substantially better, and you could actually run an EPA carb exempt or a carb exempt tune on your car if you ran ours.
Yeah, but
and with better performance than what APR.
Yeah, anything on the street, you got to have your cats in.
Yeah, we do recommend running factory cats if you're deleting the test pipe file. And frankly, the power difference isn't much.
Nope.
And I think our tune with factory cats will make more power than we've seen. Plus, just better support, better driving experience, faster. And we do offer an upgrade program, so you can shoot us an email. Are you guys going to push the B8 platform any harder, or are you finished with it?
We are definitely not finished with it.
Our customer just reset the world record.
There's that
with our products.
We're
not done.
I spoke to it a little bit last week. There's some really neat hardware on the other side of that wall.
Yeah, no, we're not done with it.
We're working on stuff.
This question keeps coming up in the
forged internals for B8s.
Specifically around 10 seconds, but making it a lot.
Yeah, so we are working on some internals. I'll say we're not planning on doing pistons. The factory pistons don't appear to be problematic. They're a good quality forged piston already. But we will be, we are starting to release, and we will offer more internal components that will ultimately help reliability.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the issues with aftermarket pistons. Is they're almost never as reliable as factory pistons. They tend to burn oil. They're noisy.
Yes.
And they tend to wear out faster.
The factory is really good at making the right piston for the right that application. Unless you're doing something dramatically different that you need to wildly change the combustion ratio or something, or compression ratio. But
I've been tuning and building motors for 25 years, and I'm at a point now. It's like factory pistons.
They're pretty good these days. Yeah.
And no offense, sorry, but JE and Wiseco and all this stuff, it's fine if you're building a race car that has to just hold a ton of power. But for our issue became every time we would build a motor in our service departments, it would come back, it would have issues. We'd end up losing so much money.
There's some compromise that you have to accept with most of those builds.
Yeah,
it's tricky.
I have a 2009 Audi R8 4.2 and was eagerly anticipating the new suspension parts. How did new MagRide compatible lowering springs work with the MagRide without changing the software? Well, you're in luck because virtually all those suspension components are available except the sway bars, which are coming. The springs work awesome.
Yeah,
in the car, it rides so much better.
We've
It
never
handles so much
changed
better.
software or do anything with ours.
We're not. This isn't a totally different spring. We're just optimizing the spring rate for the MagRide damper. So actually, our springs work better with the MagRide programming than the factory springs do. But I would strongly recommend doing our springs, end links, do our camber shim products, add as much camber as you're comfortable with. But that really transforms the car. And then our adjustable toe links will allow you to dial in your suspension. And then as soon as our sway bars drop, which is hopefully not too far off, that combination of parts is going to transform the way that car handles. It's a substantial improvement. I'd say that's probably one of the best suspension packages we've ever done as a company. I'd love to see more of them out there. The R8 market's kind of weird. There's a lot of disjointed, like you buy these springs and this, and then you kind of piece it all together. And there's a lot of stuff going on with stickers and beautification parts, which we don't do. But we now have the most complete substantive R8 suspension program on the market by far. No one else has anything as far as a complete product line. So I would encourage anyone with an R8 to check it out. If you'd like to talk to us, we'd be happy to talk you through it, answer any questions you have.
Yep.
And I've personally driven 15,000 miles in our R8 on these parts.
Through all the iterations.
On track, on street, through everything. You guys came out with a high pressure fuel pump mod for the B8 S4. Is there anything in the works for a low pressure fuel pump improvement from you guys? Yes, we will be offering our surge tank product as a universal installation product for the B8. There will be some fuel line.
Yeah, it's
some wiring.
It's not going to be a full plug and play affair, but
for anyone
take too much to put in.
Anyone who's up for doing a DIY on it, and then eventually, hopefully, that will turn into a more complete product. But we just want to get something out to market sooner than later. Yeah. And some good news this week is one of the parts we've been waiting for that kit finally is on its way to us. So we should be hopefully releasing them sooner than later. Please discuss the B9 2.9 Stage 2 for Stage 3 progress and horsepower gains.
Stage 2 and Stage
3. They're coming.
For ECU?
Yep.
Okay. B9...
RS5.
RS5. Okay. Yeah, so we will release Stage 2 next, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Stage 3 is a ways off. But we will be doing the 720s on that. TCU 720s, and I don't know. That's maybe
we're still waiting on the turbo.
Yeah, we're still waiting on the turbo, but that's probably a few months out. I'll just say, if you don't have it already, get our Stage 1 with E85 and our Stage 2 TCU tune, and dear fucking God, it's ridiculous.
It's pretty absurd what basically
you'll just need to do the Wagner intercooler and our intake, and the tune and just fill the tank up with E85, and it's ridiculous how fast that car is for what it is. It's insane. So, and we ran. What did we run on that?
10.6 with some
RS5.
10.6 with some prep and 10.7 just on the street. Full weight.
10.7 full weight
wheels.
Yeah, stock. Yeah, terrible tires.
Stock wheels and whatever tires. And 10.6 on the drag strip. So it's a very, very fast car for very little mods. You don't need to go Stage 3 for it to be just about the fastest car. Honestly,
there's not a lot of 10-second cars out there. Like
I don't even know. Yeah, I drove the car around for a couple of days, raced a bunch of stuff, and even McLaren 720 was no match for it. So it's a very, very fast car. And I mean, it's a quick car stock. It's completely a whole nother echelon with those mods. Do you have parts in development for the Mk8 Golf R, and do any current MQB parts fit the Mk8? Yes, absolutely. So go to our website, load up your version of Mk8, MQB Evo, whatever you have.
That's still.
We're still working on that. Oh, okay.
Soon.
Okay. What? Oh, this is he's still doing it.
Yes.
Okay, so we are currently updating our website with this information. We've already identified the parts in engineering and marketing, and so the websites takes a while to update. But
He's got a fair bit up there already.
There's new stuff.
Yeah, new stuff. Yeah, well, the crossover stuff we'll
yeah.
be getting.
Go take a look. Anyways, a lot more is coming, and we are developing new parts. So specifically, we'll be developing new intakes. Our current intakes don't fit that application. Things like springs, we are also doing. And Racing Line also offers some parts that we offer on our website as well. But yeah, there's a lot more coming for the Mk8. A lot of our current parts, MQB parts, do fit the Mk8. For example, our RCO ball joints and things like that. We're running out of time. Let me just address the.
Address that bottom question. That one's come up a few times. Groups following Nate's run.
We have a water meth file.
Yeah, we have for a long time.
Yeah.
We just require people to email in to confirm they have the proper hardware before we put it on their phone.
If you have water meth and you'd like, we do have a file that helps support it. You just need to email tuning at 034 more.
So the question was, do we have any other files that might be hanging around out there that people don't know about? No, I mean, we've talked very openly about the water meth file too.
Yeah.
It's not on the website. It's not typically
it's an off-the-shelf.
It's an off-the-shelf file, but it's not something we typically recommend just to the general public because it does require additional installation and stuff that's pretty far out of our control for supporting.
And that's only stage 2 plus E40, right?
Yeah, it's only on the 2 plus E40 file.
Yep. I want to address a product issue that came up yesterday. We did make a mistake. This is specifically related to our Mark 7, Mark 8 RCO ball joints. Roll correction optimization ball joints. These are the ball joints that we released recently that allow more camber and add caster.
I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, so there was a nut that got kitted. This is the nut that goes top of the ball joint that holds the ball joint to the steering knuckle. And the incorrect washer was put in the kit. And these are aluminum uprights, which means they have that steel insert for the tapered ball joint.
Yep.
We have had no reported issues until yesterday when a customer was at the track and said that he hit a berm and he was driving pretty aggressively on track, and the steel insert inside the aluminum housing dislodged because the outer diameter of the nut is not a sufficient diameter to fully
Another retaining mechanism.
retain the steel insert. This was a mistake we made. Thankfully, the customer, other than ruining his track day, was able to drive back and just simply notice the change in his alignments. The thing, didn't pop out and disconnect all the way, so it came down, but he could feel it. He came in, took the car home, and noticed this. So we're sending an email out now to anyone who's purchased these. Again, no imminent danger. If you're just driving calmly down the street right now, you'll be fine. But in the event of a force or shock to the suspension, it could be enough to pull this out because the nut's not capturing that steel insert inside the aluminum casting. So effective immediately, we would recommend that you find your stock ball joints if you still have them. Hopefully you do, and take our nut off the top and install the factory OEM nut, which has the big flange washer on it. If you do that, you're good. You don't have to think about this ever again. If you've thrown that away or you no longer have that available, please check the email that we send and we would ask you to contact us. In the next few weeks, we will send anyone who's purchased these out washers that can be installed underneath the nut that we provided. The washer will fully capture that steel insert and restore this part to the same kind of factory functionality that's supposed to be there. Again, we apologize. This was a really dumb mistake. It should not have happened. We've moved immediately to correct it. We did test this on 3 different shop cars for thousands and thousands of miles on street and track.
Lots of tracks.
We do beat these cars hard on track. They also get driven hard in the streets and all the types of testing that we do. And we have not observed this happening on any of our cars. So it was kind of a freak thing that happened. The nut was definitely the wrong nut. We have the same issue or dynamic on all the Audis with aluminum uprights.
Yep.
And we provide the correct washer with a larger flange to capture this. So we know about this. We know it's a problem. This was a kidding error that should not have happened. We're very sorry, embarrassed, and we're moving to correct this immediately. So again, apologies. If you have any questions or concerns, an email, has the email been sent yet?
That should have been.
Yeah, so you should have received this email by now that will instruct you on what to do. And contact us as always if you have any questions or concerns. So again, apologize about that. We really strive to not have these type of things happen, but Audi and Volkswagen and Ford and Chevy, they all have recalls too. It does, not to justify it, but despite your best efforts, it can happen as well. All right, we got a couple more minutes. I know you guys make an E40 available at stage 1 for the B8. My current tuner has a single pulley E30 file. Considering this since no pump upgrade is necessary. Does 034 have an E30 file? No.
We have an E40 file.
E40 and upgrade your pump.
Yeah.
That's $335 and you can make all the power.
Yeah.
And also I don't know.
It's just.
I also don't know what tuner you're working with or why you would do that, but our off-the-shelf file is the best on the market. It's going to be better than any custom file you come across.
And it'll ensure you've got the right fuel. I mean, rather than pushing the regular in, what the stock piston can do.
Yeah. Can I flash stage 2 without the downpipe B9 3.0T?
No, it needs downpipe. That's
I don't even know why you would do that.
Just run an intercooler and an intake, and you're basically going to get almost all the power of the stage 2 anyway. The stage 2 power difference is it's tricky. Like the stage 1, we have to advertise as it would normally be flashed, so that's stock car, what it makes. But you can obviously run an intake and an intercooler and these other supporting mods that aren't required, and you're going to pick up most of that stage 2 difference. Where the stage 2 tune requires that stuff, we dyno everything with that equipment on it.
Yeah, and the only reason you'd run stage 2 would be to support high flow cats or test pipes for racing use. So there's no reason to flash stage 2 on a stage 1 card. That's literally not what you're supposed to do. But like Nate said, good news is intake, intercooler, you're going to be making almost the same power. And you won't have to mess with emissions issues and things like that. Will a factory downpipe work with stage 3 and all the goodies coming with?
We are going to be offering a factory downpipe file.
Absolutely. And the good news is you can still make a ton of power on the factory cat. And I think more and more we're recommending. How do you feel about converting the R8 to rear-wheel drive? Is this something I looked at due to the system putting so little power to the front? It seemed almost pointless for the trans power loss.
It's definitely not pointless.
It's not pointless. I recommend keeping it if you're looking for a different driving dynamic where you're looking to drive like a rear-wheel drive car. The R8 already drives mostly like a rear-wheel drive car, right? Yeah. But if you'd like to really be able to like break the rear tires loose and do that stuff, then I'd recommend it. It does send enough power to the front tires that it makes a difference.
It certainly makes a difference, yeah.
It will bias towards the rear, which is great. And so that gives the car more of a rear-wheel drive or sporting driving dynamic while still allowing you to lay the power down. I think there's a weight savings advantage. People with like 996 turbos do this too. I actually drove my car around for 6 months in rear drive mode, and it was just a lot of fun from a tuning standpoint. That car has like all the torques. The R8s don't. So I don't really get it. I would not do that, but you could, and you could see what it's like. It literally just involves removing the parts, I think. If you remove the drive shaft and the diff and the front axle shafts,
You gotta put
you need to put something in
Yep.
the knuckles. So you can take the CV apart and just leave the outer CV.
I think if you want to do a super simple test, you can just pull the center drive shaft, leave the axle, leave the diff in the front.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember how that's sealed up.
I think you're
think
probably
that's good.
with our GTI RS. I just ordered some really big bolts and washers, and we just bolted in through the.
Oh, to for the connecting
just to
system
hold,
bearing.
just to hold it all. All right, looks like we're out of time.
We are.
So, anyways, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, and we have some questions left over that we'll try to get to next week, or come back next week, and definitely tune in next week. Have some exciting news.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.